Okay, today's lesson is going to be about uncovering the shit. So, right now, what we've been doing is practicing doing our daily declarations. And the purpose of this is to get you used to declaring your day and starting at the beginning of your day. This is what has already happened. This is what already is. This is the energy of what I'm stepping into. And as we do that, you're going to notice language patterns come up, feelings come up, limiting beliefs come up. As you create these affirmations and declarations, your mind is going to start to struggle and it's going to start to want to block what you're manifesting. So the reason that we're now going into uncovering the shit is because you almost don't uncover it until you attempt to try to change it. So what I like to think of is literally a pile of old dog poop, right? Like a big old pile. It's all hard and crusty. It's got hairs in it. It's got flies on it. And you're coming in trying to put icing on top of it and being like, everything's great. Like, I love poop. Let me just put some vanilla icing on it. Like, it's delicious. Everything's great. That's essentially what we're doing when we're trying to do these affirmations when we haven't uncovered the limiting beliefs and the blocks. But by starting with your affirmations, by starting with journaling, speaking in a positive way, it's going to naturally bring up the things. So don't shy away from the things. Don't try to pretend they're not there, because the more that you do that, the more it is like you trying to bake a cake. I call it a shit cake, right? You're putting more and more icing on it. You're putting more and more layers over the poop. But at the end of the day, you're eating a poop cake, right? It's not going to get you the end result that you desire. And I did like a beautiful picture. I'm going to have my assistant turn this into something that looks amazing. But I drew a picture of actual poop, okay? And I want you to start thinking about the layers that go into this cake that you're now trying to put positive affirmations on. And at the bottom of this cake, of your shit cake, is negative thoughts. So just negative thoughts, feeling that nothing ever goes right for you, it's happened this way in the past, I'm not good enough, all of those negative thoughts that are recurring. The next one is other people's stories. Other people's stories in your family, stories that they've said about you. You are this way, so therefore you can't have this thing, whatever. Any other stories that come from other people about you or about the way life just is. Religious dogma. And I find this really a lot of times in the Christian community, and I will be breaking this down, and we will be choosing our affirmations from scripture if that's what you desire. But it's interesting because a lot of people will walk around just going, I'm a sinner and I'm supposed to suffer. Well, if that's what you claim and believe and you walk through life, that is what you're going to attract. Or you can choose a more powerful, uplifting scripture that says, I will receive exceedingly abundantly above and beyond all that I hope for and imagine. That's the scripture I'm going to choose, because that is going to lead me in a different direction. So start to uncover some well-meaning people in your life, may have come from religious backgrounds or not, but there is a doctrine or a law that you've claimed as your own, and it is blocking you from creating more in your life because you don't feel like you deserve it. Or somebody told you a story that it's not appropriate for you to have things. Identity claims, right? So we are, and this could be identity on who you were, right? Like, I'm a person who's not good with money, or I'm a person who's been divorced 4 times, right? You're identifying with that, but that doesn't mean you can't be in a good relationship. That doesn't mean you can't manage large sums of money. That is just your past, right? That is just the identity that you were before. So you can start to claim a new identity right now, today, to leave everything else behind that you ever thought you knew, to step into what you desire to become in order to have the things that you desire. The next one is, are you focusing on worst case scenario? Are you that person who's like, yeah, well, I want this, but this is probably what will happen. And you're just calling in the worst case scenario over and over and over again. If that is what you've been doing, if you've been worrying, if you've been always preparing for the worst, if you've been always in that mindset of what if this bad thing happens, we want to get that out of the equation so we can start building up this other cake, which is the love cake, which I'm going to get to in a second. The next one is past evidence. So what past evidence do you have that you're not good with money, that you're not good at relationships, that you're not good at being healthy and fit, that you can't control yourself around food, right? everything in the past that's evidence that you either can or cannot have the thing, or you just think that you're going to be the same way forever because that's always what it has been. Maybe other people in your family story, you're the first one to go to college, you're breaking the mold. That past evidence doesn't mean that something can't happen, right? Something absolutely can happen. Who was the first person to run the 5-minute mile? Roger Bannister. Nobody ever ran it before. And then he did it. So that just because it hasn't happened before doesn't mean it can't happen. After somebody presented evidence, after he said that it is possible by doing it, now a whole bunch of other people can run that mile and run faster, right? The next one is past traumas. So what past trauma are you still holding on to? Oh, I was bankrupt, or I went through this nasty divorce, or, I got fired. Whatever those past traumas are, we need to reveal them and heal them so that we're not taking them into the future, into our manifestations. And then the next one is, what are your current feelings? So what is your current feelings around your worthiness, around what you believe you can have, around what's possible for you and your family lineage or from wherever you came from? What are you just generally feeling every single day? Because we can't build upon those negative feelings and negative emotions and your constant state of being if it's in pessimistic, or if it's in worry, or if it's in self-doubt, if it's in unworthiness. Then we're just going to keep layering on this mound of dog poop, and we're not going to be able to break free just by putting icing and positive affirmations on it, okay? So I want you to write down these journaling questions. What is it that you desire? And then start to go, okay, what is it that I desire, and what thoughts is this triggering in me? What is my thought around me being able to have this? Do I not think I can actually have a great relationship? What reasons am I thinking why I can't lose this weight, or why I can't make this amount of money? What past traumas are associated with this? So if it's around money and you lost everything at one time, what trauma are you telling yourself now? Like, well, I can't have money because when I did, I failed and it all went away. Or I can't have a great relationship because of the last one. The next one is, what am I thinking of? Am I thinking of the worst case scenario? So yes, I desire to have all of this money, this amazing business, this amazing relationship. But what I'm really thinking is, well, when I go in a relationship, I know all good things must come to an end. So I know that, we're just going to break up eventually. If you're going into manifesting a relationship from that, you're not going to get a positive result. You're going to get that result because that's what you're believing going into it. How do I feel? So when you're writing down this thing that you desire, how do you feel? Do you feel unworthy? Do you feel weird asking for it? Do you feel like it's not okay? And then why? Why are you feeling like that? Because your mom, dad, grandma grew up in the Depression and said that, we need to save every penny and you need to save everything. And there's no way you should be spending $200 on a sweatshirt, whatever it is. What is coming up for you? How is it making you feel in relationship to what it is that you're desiring and asking for? And then lastly, and this is most important, after you go through all of these little areas, right, and all of these layers of the cake, and I'm going to give you those layers again because there might be things that you come up with as you go through. So negative thoughts, other people's stories, religious dogma, identity claims, so who you were or who other people say you are, worst case scenario, past evidence, past traumas, current feelings. So journal all of those out, get those all out on the table. And then go into, what am I committed to letting go of? And in that moment, all of those past stories, everything that you're seeing, release it, crumble it up, throw it in the trash, do a full moon ritual, whatever you want to do, set it on fire safely, release it and declare, today is the day that I bake a new cake, right? And I'm going to teach you how we're going to bake this new cake instead of trying to layer on all these sugary, positive feelings over a big pile of dog poop. Okay, so make your commitment that you are deciding today to release it. And from every day forward, this is how you're moving on. And you'll probably need to do this with different areas, right? So if you're manifesting, if you're in the program that I'm teaching from, typically you want to focus on one area for 30 days, right? So you can really put all your energy into that. But as you do this over and over again, you can focus on, okay, just my health, now just my finances, now just my business, now just my relationship. And rewrite your stories relating to what is coming up for you in that specific area that you're desiring to manifest in. Okay, now here comes the fun part. We are building a love cake, and I have it. See how this one is just gross and it's poopy? This one is nice and layered and beautiful. And I was just watching some kind of cake show. Like, the things they can make out of cakes is phenomenal. So I want to give you that too, is You wouldn't actually believe how amazing a cake can be until you see somebody making it. Like you see somebody full on making a whole pig out of a cake. I was watching the show yesterday. I was like, that's so amazing that they can do that. So we have the ability and tools to create anything that we want out of our cake, and it's completely up to us. Now, here are our layers of the cake. The bottom layer is positive expectation. So when you write that thing down, when you say, this is what I desire financially, relationally, in my health, you actually truly believe that is inevitable, that you're just like, yes, I know it's going to happen. And you just truly keep holding the faith, no matter what, that it is going to happen. And you have the positive expectation because you've gotten rid of that worst case scenario thinking. So what you can do here to practice on this level of the cake is just go, how can I already step into it being done? I already made $100,000 in my business. I'm already in this amazing relationship. I'm already at my ideal body weight. How would I act? How would I carry myself? How would I feel? What would change? What would I stop doing? Would I stop wearing baggy pants because I feel fit now? And then you're going to start to notice what things that you're sending an opposite message of in your life. So if you're positively expecting, if that thing's already done, then you're going to start to create your life to believe that that thing's already there. So for example, you might start wearing more fitted clothes because you're like, well, I want to wear things that I feel good in no matter what my weight currently is because I believe I'm moving towards this ideal weight. If you are manifesting a relationship, you clear space in your closet for that person's clothes to come into your life, right? You start to clean up your house because maybe you're messy like I was. And in order to live with somebody, you would need to be clean and tidy and aware of their space. The next one is positive speech. So you start with that layer of positive expectation. The next thing that comes out of your mouth is positive speech about that thing. Also protecting it from other people. So you're not just willy-nilly sharing your dreams with people. We've talked about that. You only want to share it in a container with people who are 1,000% supportive. And sometimes you might not share it at all because your dreams might even be too big for their level of understanding. So therefore, keep it to yourself, but speak it to yourself. So let's say this is a situation where somebody's asking, and I have a client that somebody asks about the business and the business is an entrepreneur. So, sometimes as an entrepreneur, you're like, well, I don't know if I'm getting a new client or project or payment, right? You just don't know. But if you're already in the positive expectation, the way that you speak about the business is always going to be from that level of positive expectation. So a really good example that I taught one of my clients is when somebody asks you about your business, but you don't have anything on the books this week, right? Like let's say you don't have any coaching calls on the books, you don't have any projects on the books, whatever your entrepreneur is, or you hadn't made any sales today. You just say, my business is always growing. I'm always getting new customers and I'm really excited about this past project I had, or I'm really excited about this past client that just did so-and-so. So you always just have a positive expectation for what's coming. My business is always growing. And you take it back to something that has happened in your business. And maybe it happened 6 months ago, but you go, but I'm really excited because what I've learned in working with this client is, and then you can go back into the energy of feeling really good about your business. And it's not like you're lying because you're just taking it back to something that makes you feel good, which is the next level, positive feeling. You cannot manifest from a negative emotion. The negative emotion serves a purpose for you to say, I don't want this thing, right? It gives you that contrast of like, this doesn't make me feel good. And it serves a purpose to redirect you towards the thing that you do want. So there is a purpose with that negative emotion. But when you are manifesting, you are stepping into feeling good all the time. And it doesn't need to be about that thing. I just had a friend call me this week and share with me that he had lost $4,000 in the stock market over a period of a month. And it was starting to get to him. But he's like, you know what? I need to take my mind off of this. So I saw him out and about with his friend and he was rollerblading and with the dogs and just having a good time. He did things that made him feel good that took his mind off of the money thing. So he wasn't necessarily sitting there going, I want more money. I desire more money. I believe in more money. He was just having fun. And then what happened is that $4,000 was deposited back in his account within 1 week. And he now has over $10,000 in that account. So that happened purely from him getting into that positive feeling emotion. Now, here's where we're going to go next level. And this is what I coached him on. When he was showing me the $10,000, he was showing it to me on his phone. And the next level here is positive action. And he showed me his phone and his screen was cracked. but through the cracked screen, I could see like $10,500 or something in his account. And we were celebrating, we were so happy. And I was like, this is so great. And I also said, do you mind if I give you some coaching? And he said, sure. And I said, okay, how does that phone make you feel when you look at it 100 times a day? Does it make you feel abundant or not abundant? And he was like, definitely not abundant. And I was like, how much is it going to cost you to get that phone fixed? He's like, less than $10,000. And I said, okay, do something for yourself. Get the phone fixed so that every time you look at it and you see your account growing and you see $15,000 and $20,000 and the account keeps growing and growing, you're looking through a clear screen of abundance instead of looking through those cracks, right? And he was kind of hesitant, but he was like, yeah, okay, I get it. So I'll follow up with you once I hear of his story about fixing the phone. But it takes positive action, right? Because you want to believe. You're not coming from a place of scarcity of like, well, I can't fix my phone because I might lose the money. And that is sending a contradicting energy out into the universe about what it is that you're manifesting. And then the last one, the cake topper, which can be, maybe it's a heart. I like to think of it as a unicorn. And there's two levels. The very top of the cake, okay? So the very top of the cake here, the final square, if you will, is holding the faith. So holding the faith no matter what, that if you're like, I want $10,000 this month, even if it doesn't come in this month, you're seeing incremental growth in your business, you still trust, I know it's coming. And you still have gratitude for each and every dollar and each and every penny that comes into your account and continue to hold the faith. Because God doesn't work on your timeline. The universe doesn't follow ABCD, all of your algorithms. It comes when you have demonstrated that you have the ability to hold the faith and you'll be okay with or without. So there is a level of unattachment. Like, I believe it's coming, and therefore, since I believe it's coming or I believe it's done, I'm just going to have the best time of my life and go rollerblading. Because when I do that, then it effortlessly flows to me without me having to do anything. Now, the top level is the cake topper. You can imagine it as a heart, because I think this is the love cake, right? The foundation is love and just feeling so good and so abundant. Or you can think of it as a unicorn or whatever image you want to use for yourself. But for me, a unicorn is powerful because this is believing and not needing any evidence. And those of you who believe in God, there's really no evidence that we can come up with that's tangible, like, oh, the sheet of paper says that God's real, right? We've experienced it in some way, or we really just choose to believe that there is a God, right? And if you're here, then you choose to believe that there is a universal source energy that co-creates with us, right? That's what manifestation is. We are not taking 100% ownership because we're co-creating, but we are taking ownership of our part of the co-creation, which are these layers that I'm teaching you right now. And the very top, I think of it as a unicorn topper because, and this goes back to religious dogma. When I was growing up, I loved unicorn and I had all these unicorn stickers on my windows, and somebody in my family took the unicorns and cut the horns off and said, these are going to be horses now because unicorns are not in the Bible and they're not real. And dinosaurs are also not real because they're not in the Bible. Okay? So when I talk about religious dogma, it's not to say you can't be religious, but there are well-meaning people in your life that may have really drilled down onto things that have hurt you, that have harmed you, that have squashed your belief. So I choose to believe now in unicorns. I choose to believe that they're real. I choose to believe that magic. I just choose to believe that because that feels really good to me. So I put unicorn on there to symbolize that anything is possible. And even if we can't tangibly see it, even if we don't have evidence that it's real, that we can believe that it is real. So needing no evidence, okay? So a couple questions that you can put on this one. Writing down your manifestation again and thinking of it as if it's already done. How do I feel into that? What would I feel like if that was done? How would I speak about it? How do I desire to speak about it? Start to create your affirmation, start to create that really good feeling statement that doesn't feel like a lie, but it feels like positive expectation. And then what if you just got news right now today that it was done? The money was in your bank account. You just met the person, or you just got married, or whatever the thing was. You just took the trip. You just had your first speech to thousands of people. How would it feel? And then if it was already done, what would I act like? What would I be like? What would I say? How would I celebrate? And already just imagine it. Okay? Because guess what? You don't need evidence because we create our own evidence. We create our own reality. So by sitting with this and creating these layers of the love cake, these layers of the manifesting cake, you get to choose to believe what you want to believe. You get to choose the way that you feel by the way that you speak, by the actions that you take, right? You're acting in belief by the way that you're vibrating, what emotion that you're in, what you choose to focus on each day. So this is how we build up those layers of manifestation. And this is something you do each and every day. And if the negative emotion comes, say thank you, because it's revealing another layer of that poop cake that we want to address, release, and move on to fulfill it with love and move forward with that positive expectation into the manifestation. So I look forward to hearing from you on what comes up for you. And your homework is simply to do this. Your soul assignment is simply to do all of these journaling prompts and then make a post in the group. Make a post stating, this is what I'm claiming. This is how I'm feeling into this. Maybe this is what I've uncovered. Maybe, and you don't need to share deep details if there were traumas, but this is what I've uncovered and I've chosen to leave it behind. And this is how I move forward. Today is a new day. I am a new person. And if you are watching this real in live time with me, this is the week of November 23rd of 2020. The energy right now that we're moving into the full moon in this coming week, is the time to release all of this baggage. And if you're watching this in the future, just look up the next new moon and you can even take this the next layer deep and do a new moon ceremony where you just meditate, you gather up all of your limiting beliefs, you rip them up, you put them in the fire, the flame, you declare that today is the day where you're moving forward in positive expectation and you're calling in all of those things that you desire, that you deserve, that you are worthy of. And that, my friend, is how you manifest.